Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. Pretty excited today. I've got actor Donald Heng with me. So welcome, Don.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah, I was excited to talk to you. I was telling you off camera, you have popped up on all kinds of kind of nerdy shows that fit right in with with what we do. We've seen you on the 100. Let's see, we've The Flash, Supernatural. I know I'm forgetting some. Weren't you on Green Arrow too?
Yep, Arrow. Yeah.
Yeah. And Minority Report. I knew I was forgetting one.
Right.
Yeah, that's right there. You could just quit right now and you'd be set. Just show up at all the conventions. You're all set.
I hear. It's not a big thing in Canada, but I hear a lot of my peers. They do a lot of convention stuff, and that's always really interesting to me. I guess I find it. I never realized myself how big of a following there can be because I'm in my own pocket, and quite honestly, none of my friends watch my shows unless I tell them. Right. So I'm like, man, nobody watches this stuff. And then I have friends who are like, yeah, no, I'm flying here and there. And it just conventions. I'm like, that's so interesting. I have no knowledge of that world whatsoever.
Yeah,
I don't know
how.
to
get in there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. I don't know that
I'm gonna
world
make
at
some
all.
phone calls for you. We're gonna get you in there. It's
Sure.
fun. It's exhausting, because as fans, we can be a little much, but it's fun. It's a good way to spend a weekend.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I like traveling. I mean, these days it's probably a bit harder, but I mean, it should be clearing up soon, opening up soon.
My son does all the editing for the podcast, and we'll cover conventions as press, but it's, 2 years ago, it was like every other weekend we were going somewhere. Last year, not much of anything, just because there wasn't any conventions out there. But now they're starting to pop back up. So we're hoping this summer we'll be able to.
Where's the farthest you've gone for a convention?
Out to LA. We'll go out to LA way. We usually will stick around, West Virginia. So we'll hit Kentucky, Ohio, Maryland, the ones right, Virginia, the ones right around us. But we'll travel a little bit at times. Make it a little father-son trip. That's always a good time.
Just one of your sons are as nerdy as you are?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're all kind of my oldest not nerdy at all. She's not nerdy at all. Very practical. And then my two sons, one's nerdy like me, like really like me. The other one's a little nerdy, but he's a musician. So his nerdy stuff is all music. And then the other one is she shares my love of fantasy, but she's more of an anime type of person. So they're nerdy. It's just a little different stuff. Yeah. Yeah. When I was growing up, we were talking off camera about, the difference in our ages. When I was growing up, being nerdy was not necessarily a good thing. But now almost everybody's a little bit nerdy, with the Marvel movies. Yeah. And now it's the Star Wars franchise stuff. Yeah. We got to get you in the MCU.
Yeah, I auditioned for Shang-Chi. I did.
Did you? They're going to make another one.
Yeah, I know. That'd be cool. I mean, I'd lose my shit. I mean, that's my favorite franchise ever. You saw Spider-Man?
Oh, of course.
Obviously, yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know. I think Endgame and Infinity War were the two that, like, I don't think I'll ever have a theater experience like that ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Like,
pretty
just
great.
The reception and I mean, people standing up and cheering and clapping. I'm just like, I've never experienced this eruption of excitement for a movie. And it's insane. It's just like, it's so ambitious, but they pull it off so good.
Nothing better, I don't think, than when people stand up and clap at the end of a movie and it's just spontaneous. I mean, that just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, with Endgame, there was like 4 applause moments, you know what I'm talking about. You probably experienced it too.
It was so fun. It was so fun. Are you when you were growing up, were you athletic? Do you train at all? If you get in one of these movies, are you going to be able to kick some butt?
I'd have to do quite a bit of training. I mean, I did grow up with a pretty athletic background. I've done martial arts large part of my life, but I played rugby in high school and I dislocated my shoulder.
Oh yeah,
And
it's a rough
continued
sport.
to dislocate it. Yeah, continued to dislocate it for the next 10 years and had to have surgery for it. And yeah, like 2, 3 years ago, I wanted to really get back into it and bring boxing and stuff, and it just kept coming back out. So that's something I kind of have to rehab.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I have no doubt I can do it. I would need a lot more help than probably Simu Liu.
If you could play a character that had some type of superpower, but their shoulder kept coming out of joint or out of socket, so that they're always fighting kind of handicapped, I would watch that. That would be interesting to me.
That's a very, very interesting take of a superhero.
You would root for that person. If they're always
Yeah, I
kind of
guess.
dragging an arm behind them and trying to battle people off, that'd be fun.
Or you can just take it right off and use it as a weapon.
So I jumped ahead a little bit, Don. So let's talk a little bit about, what got you into entertainment? Why did you want to become an actor?
Gosh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I did drama through high school. And I think what attracted me to doing drama, I mean, you know what? Let's start from really beginning. I think when I was a kid, I watched TV and I see cops, I think, and you know how they carry a gun and they bust open a door. I'm like, man, that's super cool. I want to be that person. So I thought I wanted to be on TV. And then when I got older and I was like a teenager, I thought I wanted to be a police officer, like a real one.
Right.
And so I had, when I went to university, I studied criminology, but throughout high school, I did acting and drama, and I'm not gonna lie, I really liked the applause. Like I liked the attention. I liked people saying, "Man, that was an awesome job. You're so good." And I had no really I was athletic, but I didn't get these kind of um, recognition from anything else other than acting. So I was like, man, that feels really good to be recognized for something. But I didn't know how to get into it, and I didn't really put too much of an effort into it. I just went to university and I studied criminology, and then I did poli-sci and history. And somewhere around like a year before I graduated, I was like, you know what? I feel like something's telling me I got to try this thing. And so I kind of did some research online of how to get an agent. And I found this website that said we'll give you some sides audition to tape. You tape it and they'll help you send it out to all these agents in town. And I did that. And then that's how I got meetings with 4 or 5 agents. They liked my work enough, I guess. And I met with the one that I am still with today, 10 years later. So that's really how I dipped my foot into it. But I mean, the glamour and stuff, I just want to say the hopes of what I had was around acting, like recognition and money, perhaps. Within the first 3 years, I was just like, this is not what it is. This is freaking hard, man.
It's a hard profession.
Scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. Even when it's your one line that you go into for audition and you got the lights everywhere, you got 3, 4 people sitting there, and you just feel like you're being examined. You're in this glass box with cameras on you. And so yeah, it takes a long time for you to get out of your comfort zone. And also, I wasn't booking anything for 3 years. I wasn't making anything. And I was like, I don't know. But I was in acting class, and I do remember the moment I fell in love with acting. And it was during a week of my life where I had to give away my dog. He started being really aggressive, and he was my dog, but he bit my brother at one point and we had to give him away. And it was just a devastating week for me. And I remember doing this one scene in acting class. It was from Cool Hand Luke. And it was a scene where he kind of says goodbye to his mother because his mother's dying. But, he said he acts so calm in the movie, but he's got all this emotion kind of buried underneath, but he doesn't show it. But the point of him not showing it was he wanted his mom to pass peacefully, because if his mom saw that he was upset and crying, then his mom wouldn't pass peacefully. So the point was to cover up all that sadness. And my acting teacher is trying to get me through this scene. And he talks about my life and stuff. And I kind of shared this information about my dog. And he says, great, that's great. Look at your mom, think about your dog, say goodbye to your dog. And know that if your dog is sad, he's not going to have a good life. You want him to know that you're going to be okay. And then he's going to be okay. So look at your dog. And I'm just bawling at this point, crying. I get emotional when I talk about this. And he just says, say goodbye to your dog now. And then he's like, really say goodbye. Don't show your dog have any emotion. So I got all this crying emotion underneath and sadness, but then I'd cover up and I'd be brave for my dog. And I say, you're going to be fine, go. And I'm like, God, if my teacher took something from my life that was the most devastating moment of my life up to that point, and he turned it into art, I'm like, if I can one day make money from this, then that's the epitome of taking lemons in my life and making lemonade, And I was just like, that's why I want to do this. And from then on, it's like, I don't care if I book it or not. I know this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life because it's bringing me some sort of fulfillment.
Yeah, that's so amazing. So when you first had that emotional, he kind of used that and it made you emotional with that. Did you have trouble afterwards? Did you have trouble getting back out of it, or once it was over, were you okay?
No, what do you mean by okay? Sorry.
Well, so I mean, like if you're tapping into these difficult memories in order to kind of bring that emotion to your acting, do you have trouble getting back out of that, or is that something you can kind of tap into? But then once you're done, you're fine.
I'm usually fine. Yeah, I don't feel like it follows me around. Yeah. But then again, I feel like you're going down the road of like, like say the rumors of like Heath Ledger being so into the Joker and stuff like that. We hear a lot of
he's
lore
kind of the
and stuff
extreme
like
is what you hear. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're also much more skilled and they put a lot more effort into it than I do. So I mean, I really just want to recognize the fact that at the end of the day, though, like, it's easy to feel self-important, but it's really just like, we're lucky to do what we do, and we're playing. We really are. We're just acting, we're acting like we're someone we're not. But at the end of the day, it's not really, I don't think it should be something that follows you home or anything like that,
I think that's a good way to look at it. Because it is such a difficult profession, but then you're also getting to kind of play, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it's a two-sided coin. There's one side of it where I really am like, I don't think people appreciate how much work goes into what I do because, like I said, the first 3 years auditioning hundreds sometimes, nothing, and behind each of those auditions is so much work, and back then it was simpler auditions, but these days, I mean, with coronavirus and stuff, auditions have kind of shut down, and so we're just taping from home. And because of how everyone's taping from home, they're able to cast a wider net. So, you're in Virginia, you can just send out a tape to Vancouver and say, hey, tape for this. And so I'm taping for so much stuff now, but so much work is going behind all these things are never seen because I never get the role. And I'm spending money, I'm spending my time and booking off my day job to do these things. And I don't get anything. So yeah, I don't think people are appreciating how much work goes into it. That's one part of it. The other part of it is I am getting paid sometimes to be on TV pretending to be something I'm not. What kids do. Kids like to pick up like a toy gun and pretend to be a cop. I get to do that and then I get paid for it. So it's very, there's the good side of it, and then there's the side that I feel like people don't appreciate that, the hard work they put into it.
Yeah, I think that's a terrific explanation of kind of acting, just at least for the majority that are actors.
Yeah.
That's kind of the experience. It's a lot. And I was going to ask you if, now that you're self-taping, that's kind of become a thing, if that makes it easier. And it may, I think, if I'm hearing you right, it helps some because you're at home and you can kind of control what you're sending in. But now you're right. I hadn't thought of that, but the pool for applicants is probably so much bigger now. And you're putting your time and money into it. You're not just showing up.
Yeah. You're
actually having to mail these things out. Yeah. I hadn't thought that through, but that's probably not an advantage.
I don't know. There's disadvantages and there's advantages. Like, again, like you said, I can do a take 10 times. Sometimes that in and of itself is a disadvantage because you get obsessive about every single thing you do. And then by the end, you've lost the naturalistic response you have to it, right? But at the same time, it's like, if you screw up, it's fine. The casting doesn't have time. Like they don't, in the past, they don't have time. They're just like, okay, do it one more time. If you don't get it, and you gotta leave.
Get out.
And when you're doing that second time, you're just like, the second take you're doing, you're like, oh my God, I can't mess this up. I can't mess this up. And that makes you mess it up even more. And then I guess the other disadvantage to this is you don't get notes. And that's important sometimes, because you can say a line however many ways you want to say it. But if they don't think that that's what it is, they might just move on to the next tape instead of being like, hey, you know what? That's really cool, but why don't you try it this way? Like none of that. We don't get feedback anymore.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
a
like,
really good point. That's a really good point because you lose the ability to make those connections because I know from talking with actors, a lot of times you don't get a role, but maybe you had some type of connection with that person you're auditioning for. So at some point in the future, they might call you up and say, hey, we think you might be good for this. Why don't you try to come in for this? So it leads to other possibilities because you're there person to person.
Yeah. Or in times, honestly, it's just about that one job. They didn't like the way you read it, but they see that you can do it. So they're just like, I want to see if you can be directed. I want to see if when you show up on set, if you're doing something one way, and I want to throw you something out of left field. I want to see if you can just pivot. And so we kind of lose that without being in the room. Yeah.
That really good points. Are you with your acting, do you prefer to do more improv, or are you more like study the script and do it that way?
The second. I don't think I'm very good at improving. Yeah.
Well, me neither. Not that I try to act, but if I did, I'd be a terrible improver. I would have to know the lines. It would be more memorization for me.
Yeah. I don't like coming up with lines. I don't feel like I have that kind of skill.
So any desire at some point to step behind the camera and do anything on, directing, producing, anything like that?
Every now and then, I think that in the future I will be interested, but quite honestly, I don't think I know so much about it. I don't know. I guess sometimes younger actors and people who are newer ask for my advice and help them tape and audition and stuff. And I do get the fulfillment of like seeing their process and being like, I like what you're doing, but let's try it this way so that, it fits the story more or whatever. And then when these moments work, it's very fulfilling. And that's when I'm like, maybe I can be a director. But then I'm like, the scope of directing is so large that I'm just looking at one tiny facet of it. So I don't think I'm anywhere prepared to kind of take on that. But it's something that's like just in the back of my mind. I'm not ruling it out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know a lot of people start. That's why you see so many people start with like a short, something small where they can kind of, it's a smaller setting where they can control it a little bit as their first foray into directing. Because if you had to step on and do a TV show or a movie as your first time directing, that's kind of daunting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Two Sentence Horror Story.
Oh,
so
yeah, sure.
It's an anthology series. So I got to see your episode. I want to get the name right. Plant Life.
Yeah.
You were so good in that. Like
you
I watched that episode.
You saw it?
Yeah.
You saw it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because and you were so good that I was like, well, they should give him just a whole story based around something like that.
Oh, thanks, man.
It was good. It was really good. But how did that role come
about? You know what? They actually asked me to audition for the other actor initially, for Ben, the boyfriend. Oh, and honestly, I felt like I feel like this character is really fit for me. And then I taped it, and then they said, yeah, okay, you're in consideration for this role. And then a couple of days later, they're like, actually, can you tape for the main role? And I was happy. I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool that they want me to tape for a bigger role. But I honestly felt more connected to the other guy because I'm like, I guess I don't know why. I don't even know how to put it into words, but I think I did find it daunting when I read the script that, the role that I eventually played, like he has so much time alone. And not
that's what I thought was so amazing about it. It was so Christian, I think was the name of your character. But you had so much time where it's just you. Yeah.
So when I first read the script, I honestly was a little bit nervous or scared because I had never done anything like that in my life yet, But when I showed up on set, it felt natural, and I had no issues that kind of validated my worries. So it was a great experience. I got to put on those prosthetics and stuff. And, speaking of work that is not shown, like that prosthetic they put on me, they took like 3 weeks to build. And it's like, how much of
Really?
it do you see on the show, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. So much money, so much work, so much hour, so much time goes into building these things that, natural viewers, just regular viewers, don't consider. You just see it and they're like, oh, cool prosthetic. It's 3 weeks,
Yeah.
dude, for one guy to do this one
3 weeks.
thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Did it
Mhm.
take, was there any time involved in getting all that getting geared up with it?
Oh yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was really fun. It sucked. It's so bad. The glue that they put on you in your hair and in your body. Like, it was
Yeah.
2 weeks later that I still found sticky spots throughout my torso. And I mean, the first week I was doing it, like, I sleep with my shirt off sometimes, and when I roll off the bed, it goes, like, sticks to the mattress. And this is like high grade glue. And you're sitting in a chair and you can't itch yourself and you can't eat properly. But I mean, mine only took about 3 hours. The thing that I kept thinking about, and you probably know this, being the nerd that you are, but you probably know that, like, Mystique, when they put
Yeah.
on her costume, takes like 12 hours or something like that.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's like, in my mind, I just kept thinking, like, okay, at least it's not that. At least it's not that.
I
But like,
couldn't
day
sit
in, day out.
still that long.
Oh yeah, I know.
And
I
then
know.
have to go act.
And then I have to go act. Yeah. Yeah. What I heard
Yeah, I
was that
couldn't
she
do
just
that.
comes in. She comes in at like night, and in the middle of the night, and then she just tries to sleep on the table, and they flip her over, and then she tries to sleep again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. And well, but now that you have done some of that, that's something that's in your toolkit now. So you can be like, yeah, I've worn the prosthetics. So I've got a little experience with it. So that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's overall like the horror genre. Up to this point, I've auditioned for horror things, and with horror things, there's a lot of like turning a corner and like being spooked or something. And I've always felt if I booked one of these things, I'd be worried. But because I did this show, I was like, I think I'm good. I think I'm
Yeah, you
okay.
can do it now.
Yeah. Mhm.
You're in the genre. And it's a
Yeah.
if I'm right, it's been a little while since I've seen it, but if I remember right, it's a CW show.
Yeah, it is a CW. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really good. It was good enough that I was like, well, I got to watch some more of these episodes. But it was
Oh,
still,
really?
yeah, it was my
Awesome.
first one that I've watched. It was still my favorite. Yours was my favorite of the ones I watched.
Thanks, man.
And it's a good series. It's actually really well done.
Yeah. I mean, I think this season is the production value has gone up a lot. The set designs and stuff are a lot better. So it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I wanted to ask you about American Dreamer.
Yeah.
Because I know it's coming out. It hasn't come out yet. But what a cast on that one.
Right. I know.
Yeah. Can you tell me anything about that? I know it hadn't come out yet, so you may not be able to say a whole lot. But
Yeah, plot wise and how my character's involved, I can't really say too much other than I did get to act with Peter Dinklage.
yeah, that's pretty great.
All my scenes were with him, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Yeah, he's Game of Thrones. He was like my favorite character, and then it was not more than it was not more than a year after I had finished the series that I was like standing on set working with him. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. I know. It's definitely one of those moments where I'm like, wow, this actually happened. Yeah.
Yeah, what was he like? Because you're spending that much time with him. Is he very professional all the time, or does he kind of cut up in between sets? What was it like kind of hanging out with him a little bit?
Very professional, and he's also he's very aware of his surroundings, and he doesn't like distractions. Like crew members, I want you guys to just like not people who don't have to be here don't be here. He really likes to get into it. The one thing I really appreciated about him was, this was a smaller budget show, and he was producer on it and stuff. And so we had shot our scene and, done all his coverage close up on him. And when they were turning around on me, the director sent him off to get his makeup done for the next scene because they were on a time crunch. And so they just wanted to shoot me. So basically when they did my close up, he wasn't there. I was acting with I think just some crew member.
Right,
and
like a stand-in,
so,
yeah.
So he got sent off, and halfway through walking, he rushes back and he's like, yo, sorry. I just considered the fact that you're acting opposite someone else that isn't me. Like, do you want me to be here? They want me to leave. But if you're not okay with it, I will say that I will stay. And awesome. I said, that's okay. No, go. And he's like, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Because if I were you, I would want me to stay. So tell me you want me to stay and I will stay here. And I said, I'm good. You can go. And he's like, okay, great. Thank you, man. Thank you. And he just like went off and he came back and we did the second scene. But yeah, I thought that was very, very, very nice of him.
Yeah. That really is, because a lot of actors it never would have occurred to them.
No, I don't think so.
But he was probably thinking, well, if that was me, I'd have definitely wanted that. I would not have been happy if he walked off. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, and I know see, Matt Dillon's in it, Danny Glover, and Shirley MacLaine, right?
Yeah. So I didn't know those people were in it until after I had finished the movie, because I don't have scenes with them. But the cast list just kept getting added on. I'm just like, wow, what a privilege to be in the same cast as these amazing people.
Well, that's the type of movie that will up your profile just because.
Yeah,
because of the cast and who you got to act opposite of. I mean, that's terrific. Yeah, we're excited. I'm such a fan of Shirley's that we've been. She's busy doing whatever right now, but I think she's coming on the show this summer, so we're super excited about.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
She's. Acting wise, she's amazing.
Yeah,
she's been doing it for 50, 60 years. I mean, kind of crazy. But that's terrific. So any ideas on when that one will be out?
Sometime mid this year is what I'm told, but I don't know.
What can you tell, like, what your character does? Do you have a profession, or
I'm a doctor.
You're a doctor. Okay.
I'm a doctor. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gotten to play, because you thought about being a police officer, have you got to play a police officer?
Yep, a couple times. So Arrow was like one of the early things I booked. So it was not really a big role or anything. I was just like a SWAT officer, and I was pretty cool putting on the whole gadget and stuff. But then the other show that I got really excited about was called Ghost Wars. That was also on Netflix.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I forgot you were a deputy on there.
That's right. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And again, that cast list was amazing too. Vincent D'Onofrio, who I remember at the time I was watching Daredevil and he was Kingpin. I was like, oh my God, Kingpin's on the show and he's like the lead. And Meatloaf was there.
Oh, wow.
We just passed, sadly. But it was a great experience too. And that was one of my, I considered it kind of one of my childhood dreams, we checked off the box, the fact that I got to be a cop. Yeah,
that's terrific. Yeah, that was a great show. That's a great show. It was really good. Really good. I had forgotten that was a Netflix show. That
sci-fi / Netflix. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's really.
I'm told. See, I was told during that show, I was working on that show, and the guy who played my partner, he was the one who told me. He just like, dude, like you should get into conventions. We were talking off camera about conventions.
Yes.
And he's like, you should do conventions. Yeah, I think he's one of the friends of mine who does a lot of conventions. He was telling me about that world, and I'm like, I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, we're gonna help you out with that. We'll get you set up with some conventions, because they're so much fun. So we like to play this game whenever I have a guest on. I go around to my wife and all the kids, and I'm like, where have you seen this person before? So it never fails. I told you my oldest, my daughter, she's not nerdy at all, not at all. So it never fails. She's always seeing, whoever it is in some type of Christmas or holiday movie. She said the same thing about you. She's like, he's done a Christmas movie or a holiday.
I've done a few. Yeah. It's so cool. See, again, it's just like I said, no one in my circle of friends would watch these movies if I didn't tell them I was in it. So it's always cool to see, like, you're on the other side of the country, pretty much, different countries, but you're on the other side. And if you've seen things, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. Yeah. And I learned, I've talked to just a large group of actors that are in Vancouver. And I learned that a lot of those Christmas movies, take place in New York, but they're actually filmed in Vancouver. And I was like, I didn't know that. It looks like New York.
I'm doing one next week, actually, that's based in New York. And
really?
Here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it? Well, I guess it's not a Christmas movie. We're past that, but.
Yeah, it's not a Christmas movie. Yeah, no, it's a Hallmark typical Hallmark rom-com.
That's
movie.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a rom-com. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. What's your character in that one?
So I guess this movie is the romantic lead just broke up with his girlfriend, and then he meets this other girl, and then he's happy that he left the previous relationship. But and initially I auditioned to be his best friend, who he kind of confides in when he goes to the bar and he drinks, and his best friend owns a bar. And then off of that, they actually just gave me a different role, which is his ex-partner, the lead guy's ex-partner's current partner. Do you follow? Yeah.
I'm with you.
So I'm kind of like a douchey lawyer type.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. You got to have, every Hallmark movie has to have somebody that's kind of the douchey person.
Yeah. It's nice to be the douchey person.
That's right. So my wife said, and I haven't watched this show, but she loves it, said that you were on Virgin River.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she knew that. She knew right off. She's like, "Yep."
This is cool, man. This is really cool. If you're telling the truth, that is.
Of course, because that's
cool.
our thing. I'm like, because what I'll do is I'll show them, I'll get a picture of you on my phone. I was like, where have you seen this person? And sometimes they'll say, well, I think I've seen them before. But then sometimes they'll be like, oh, I know what I've seen. So she knew exactly that you were in Virgin River. My daughter was like, why? He's done Christmas movies because I've seen him.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Now me, I saw you in a lot of the ones we talked about, earlier, all the nerdy ones. I watched all of those shows. But one that I thought was just a terrific show was the Center. You made an appearance on the Center, and I thought you were terrific in that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was one of my favorite projects to work on. Honestly, it took me out to the East Coast, and again, just like the level of show and the cast and the directors and the showrunners and everything and the writing and stuff. I just thought to be a part of this was pretty significant for me. And also, since you watched it, like just how my character really ties up the loose ends of the entire season. So everyone's just waiting to see what happened, and this character appears and through his demise explains everything that occurs throughout the season. So I thought that was really cool.
That's the great part about that show is it's very twisty, and it's you're kind of solving the mystery along with the lead detective. But yeah, you pop in there near the end and just tie it all up.
Yeah.
That was really good. And that was if I remember right, that was this last season. Yeah.
And they're done. I think they're done. Unless they get revived or anything. I think they're done with the story of Detective Harry Ambrose.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed with that because I just think it's been like when the first season came out, I didn't see any way that there was going to be a season 2. And I loved the first season. And then but then they switched it to where it was around, the detective. And and then that made more sense to me. But now, season 3 ended, and I'm like, oh, well, there's got to be a season 4, but I don't think we're going to get one. That's disappointing.
Well, this one's the latest one is 4, but yeah.
Oh, this is 4. Okay, yeah. So 4 is it. So we're not getting a 5. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I was like, it's disappointing because that for me and my wife, we loved it. We closed our eyes every once in a while. There were some rough scenes in a few of those, but pretty good. Yeah, pretty good stuff. So how about The Art of Racing in the Rain? So you were in that one, which I'll tell you, I love Kevin Costner, so I watched just because he was in it. But it was a great movie.
Yeah, he just voices a dog though, so he's not really in it. But he's the voice of the dog.
I'd heard he was in it, and then we're watching. I'm like, I don't think he's in it.
Yeah,
but he's actually the dog.
The funny thing about that story is I was in LA. I had auditioned. I sent in a tape from LA, and then they wanted me for a callback in Vancouver, so I flew out before the callback, went back to LA, and like 2 months later, I thought I didn't get the part, but it was 2 months later I got the part. And then that night I went out for dinner, or a couple nights later I went out for dinner and went to this nice restaurant called the Ivy, and I saw Kevin Costner there. and I wanted to say
Really?
hi, and I was gonna be like, dude, we're gonna be moving together, but obviously I didn't say anything. I just thought that was pretty serendipitous.
That's pretty. Yeah, I'm assuming you were never on set with him since he was just doing the voice work.
No, yeah, no. I was on set with Milo though, Milo Ventimiglia, and that was there's all these projects I do. There's always just like some cool story attached to it, and this one is just like my wife has such a big crush on him, and my cousins, like girl cousins, all have a crush on him. So it's pretty cool to say,
He's a good looking
that I
dude.
worked with him. He is a good looking dude. Super nice guy too. Really, really nice.
He comes across as very nice. So I think the first thing I saw him in that I remember was probably Heroes. You know, he was on Heroes, and then of course This Is Us. He kind of blew up, but yeah, he just comes across like in interviews and stuff that he's just a pretty good guy.
He really is. I mean, yeah, I want to say that he's probably the nicest celebrity in that. Him and Bill Pullman were both really, really nice people. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Let's see, you're I wanted to say Sean was the name of your character.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Okay.
That's
It's
right.
been a little while since I watched it. Yeah. So what about, you did a movie and I was trying to look it on my notes. I don't have it written down, but Greg Kinnear was in it.
Yeah, so that's a movie that's coming out this year too. It hasn't come out yet.
Okay. That's probably why I didn't have it down. But I was like, I think I saw something he was doing with Greg Kinnear. What's the name of that one?
Sight. The movie's called Sight. Yeah, it's a biographical film about probably the world's most renowned eye surgeon.
That's right.
His name's Dr. Ming Wong, and then his partner is Dr. Bartnovsky. These are based on real people, played by Greg Kinnear. And so the story is really just him, this doctor in modern days, trying to find, discover new ways to restore sight for people. And the story flashes back between present day and past 1960s, 1970s China, where very uncertain times for them. And I play his father in the past, so all my dialogue is in Chinese for that one. So it's quite a difference. It's quite a different role than anything I've ever done before.
That's kind of neat. So is it like when they go to the past scenes, is he around, like his character around as a child, or is it before, he's a child character? Yeah. So he's a child.
His child. Yeah, he's a child. So again, this is another role where I just unfortunately never got to work with Greg Kinnear, which I would have loved to, obviously. But I have this kid. I play a father who has a kid from when he's like 5 to 18, something like that. I don't feel like I look old enough for it, but yeah, I don't know. It's a very, very different thing than I've ever done. I'm quite excited to see it, honestly. Yeah. Huh?
I said that's awesome to kind of stretch yourself and get a little bit different role. When is that one going to be out this year as well?
Yeah, they say Q2 of this year, but again, I don't know.
You got a couple summer things coming out this year.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I mentioned when I was reading off all the nerdy stuff, but you popped up on an episode of Van Helsing too. We've had a few episodes of Van Helsing, but you were on there, and that's a dark show.
Yeah,
I've watched that series, and you can only watch like one at a time because it's a vampire show, but there's not a whole lot of like good feelings coming out of it.
No. Yeah. It's I guess similar to Walking Dead. It's just like anxiety inducing kind of
very similar. Yeah, that's actually a really good comparison because it does. It just makes you kind of unsettled when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Don, this has been the best. Thank you so much for taking some time with us.
Oh, not at all. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this has been terrific. So a couple things before you go. We've talked, I think, about the things that you have upcoming, but is there anything else you have going on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
I think you mentioned everything, man.
Yeah, you've got a couple big ones coming up. So that's awesome. You're going to have a good summer.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I'm really excited to see it, and hopefully you get a chance to watch it too, and let me know what you think.
Will you get? Yeah, I will. I totally will. Will you get to do some red carpet stuff with any of these?
Hopefully. I mean, we really don't know. Again with COVID and stuff, I just don't know.
That's I think that's one of the disappointing things. If I was an actor, and I got a role in something that was kind of big, I would be very disappointed if they weren't doing red carpet because of COVID.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not just because of travel, right? It's because of like theatrical release. You know, it's like, is it worth doing this? Is it worth investing into this theatrical release if people are not going to the movies? That's right. So it's not just about travel. You know, it's maybe the financial side makes more sense for them to just do it to Netflix or something. So yeah. I know when we filmed it, they both movies were supposed to be theatrical. I just hope nothing's changed. I haven't heard anything, but I'm assuming nothing's changed, but it's always a possibility.
No, we keep pushing it out, right? It's like maybe next month everything will go back to normal. And we've been doing that for like 2 years now.
Gosh, I know, right? I know. I'm feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all are. We all are. Mm-hmm. So last thing, Don, before you go, where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Instagram would be Heng Donald. So that's Heng and then Donald.
Yeah. Yeah. Easy enough. Easy enough. Instagram's the best one because you just share pictures mostly on there. You avoid all the fighting.
Yeah. That's why Twitter is it's you can go down a rabbit hole when you're in Twitter.
It's contentious on Twitter. Yeah. Facebook too. Mm-hmm. At times.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Instagram's pretty safe.
Yeah, because you're just sharing your life and little moments and stuff. You can see more stuff about my dog and my baby than you can about my work. But yeah, I
had heard that you were a dog lover, and you've mentioned dogs a few times on here, so I'm assuming that's true.
Oh yeah, she's been through this whole thing. See, she's right here.
Oh, she's adorable.
Yeah, she's a good one.
Yeah, she was good too. She didn't bark or jump around or anything. She's very
so
relaxed
smart
on camera.
Yeah, really great dog. Yeah, great dog. I taught her how to close doors by the time she was like 3 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you taught her to go and bring you like beverages from the fridge?
No.
Well, you need to get to work on that.
Yeah. Next time I talk to you, I'll try and show you that.
That's right. You've got, before you come back, let's see what you can, work with on her.
Fair, that's the deal. Yeah.
All right, Don, hold on 1 second. All right, so that was the talented Donald Heng. That was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And, just to run through that list again of the nerdy shows that he has appeared on, the 100, The Flash, Supernatural, Minority Report, Van Helsing, and Arrow. Pretty great. And Ghost Wars too. Just terrific. And I know that we're just starting to see how good of an actor he is. Wait until these new movies come out. Now that he's had kind of a starring role in a series, I think it's just going to keep getting bigger because he's really talented. I hope he gets to play like a detective in a series at some point. That would be pretty sweet. The one I forgot to mention was the Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. He got to play a reporter in, so he was really good in that one as well. Thank you guys for tuning in again this time. Really appreciate that. If you haven't done so yet, we could use the help on our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. If you would give us a subscription, really appreciate that. It's free, and I guarantee that you will find something or someone that you are a fan of. We've done hundreds of interviews on there. We've had a lot of shows around geeky topics. There's a lot on there I think you would really like, so definitely check that out. YouTube, MeisterCon Pod. You can also find all 350 or so episodes of the podcast on our website, meistercon.com. Audio and video both are on there. It's got a terrific, fun, geeky blog that my son Brett writes. He's a talented writer. It's funny and it's a lot of fun. If we're doing in-studio activities, it'll be on there. If we're going to conventions or if we're recording remotely, all that will be on the website, meistercon.com. So thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.